Let me paint a scene you've probably lived through. It's 3:42 on a Tuesday. You're trying to send something simple, a proposal, a quote, a plan, and you just need the latest version. So you search your email, then Teams, then you check OneDrive. Then you see three files that all look correct and none of them feel safe to open. One is called Final docx, which is always a lie. One is Final version 2 docx, which is also a lie. And one is Proposal Patrick Edits docx, which feels personal in a bad way. And the worst part, this wasn't a technology problem. This was a workflow problem. Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Feature, and I'm Dr. Patrick Jones. This podcast is where we stop hunting features and we start upgrading workflows. Because Microsoft 365 is not just Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams, etc. It's supposed to be the system your work runs on. And most Office people I talk to aren't saying, Patrick, teach me 42 features. They're saying, I feel like I'm always chasing information. I want things to be smoother. Well, today, I want to give you a simple way to think about Microsoft 365 in the modern workplace. There's three major goals that most people associate with Microsoft 365. Those are communication, collaboration, and productivity. You hear it all the time in relation to Microsoft 365. Well, I'm adding a fourth quadrant, and that's the heartbeat of Beyond the Feature, and that is innovation. It's not new toys, but better flows. And by the end, you'll have one small change you can try this week that generally reduces friction. So, the four quadrants. Here's a simple mental model. Communication, how we send and receive information. Collaboration is how we build something together. Productivity is how we consistently get work done without rework. Well, now there's innovation, how we improve the system so next week is easier. Most people live in the first three, which isn't a bad thing. Innovation is just the missing piece. And it's why so many organizations feel like they have Microsoft 365, but still work like it's 2009. Innovation is when you stop saying, I guess this is just how it is, and you say, wait, why do we do it this way every single time? So let's look at communication first. Small businesses usually live in Outlook. It's the hub. But communication breaks down when we use communication tools for things they weren't designed to be. Email as a task manager, chat as a filing cabinet, and meetings as a replacement for clarity. So, a better workflow. Messages go where the work is. Here's the Beyond the Feature rule. If the message is about the work, put it with the work. So instead of, hey, can you send me that file? Can you remind me what we decided? Where are we on this? You use a Teams channel or even a group chat that has the file pinned, or the file shared as a link, not attached, or a single place for all of those decisions, the meeting notes or a running update post. Now, Copilot helps here when communication gets noisy. Summarize an email thread, pull action items out of a meeting, draft a clearer message that doesn't sound like a novel. But Copilot doesn't fix chaos, it reports on it. The real win is one home for updates. So now let's look at collaboration. Collaboration is where most teams get stuck in document ping pong. I mean, here's a story a client once told me. We didn't lose the document, we lost confidence in the document. So that's real, right? Because once you've had one moment where someone edits the wrong version, you don't just lose time, you lose trust. So now here's the Beyond the Workflow fix. So try this policy for anything important, right? One file, one link, one home. Store it in SharePoint or OneDrive. Share it as a link. Stop attaching new versions. And then use comments and at mentions in the document to bring people in. And here's the secret sauce. Pin that link, that document in Teams and save it as a tab. That one change reduces searching, version confusion, can you resend that, and the silent stress of not knowing what's current. Now, Copilot here becomes useful when the document is shared correctly. Summarize what's changed. Create a first draft from a prompt. Turn a messy outline into something readable. Now, productivity. Most people think productivity means do more. But in office work, productivity is usually reduce rework and repeatable confusion. So an example is the I'll get back to that pile. Your inbox is your task list. You're not managing tasks, you're managing guilt. Here's the simple workflow for Outlook and To Do. And that works great in small businesses. So you have three buckets. You have do, which you own it, waiting, someone else owns it, or save, which is reference only. So here's how you implement it. You flag emails into Microsoft To Do. You use categories or folders if you like, but keep it simple. And then put deadlines on the tasks, not just sometime. And here's the workflow upgrade. When you finish a task, send the follow-up immediately while your brain is still on it. That's not a feature tip, that's flow. Now, Copilot can also summarize that email and tell you what's being asked, draft the response, and suggest next steps. But again, Copilot shines when your system is clean enough to support it. Now, here's our final quadrant, innovation. Innovation is the area where beyond the feature lives. And for small businesses, innovation doesn't mean build a huge automation system. Innovation means turn one repeating pain into a repeatable process. So here's that Friday ambush, right? Let's talk about it. The Friday ambush. It's Friday at 4:30. It's when someone messages, hey, quick question. Can you send me the latest numbers, the updated pricing, the current onboarding steps, whatever it is? And it's never quick. So instead of fixing it every Friday, innovation asks, what system would prevent this from happening again? So let's look at that workflow. A simple innovation workflow using 365 is maybe put the source of truth in a Loop page or a SharePoint page or a OneNote page. Add a basic form for requests when needing. Use a list to track the status if it's recurring. Use Teams for updates where everyone can see them. If you're ready, Power Automate for when request is submitted, notify and assign. This is how you stop being reactive. And this is actually the exact reason I'm building my workflow app. It's like Duolingo, but it's for office workflows, right? So you're not going to learn 40 features. It's more like try one workflow to upgrade today, reflect on it, rate it, and stack those wins over time, right? So I'm building that app right now because repetition and reflection is where those habits change. And that's what we're trying to do, right? Is build habits. And if you improve by 1% a day in the way you work, that's not a feature. That's a transformation. All right. Here's a listener takeaway time. Let's call it that, right? 3 parts, quick and practical. One question to ask this week. Where does this work live? If the answer is in my inbox, that's your next upgrade. One workflow to try. Pick one active project and do this. Create a team space, whether it's a channel or a group chat. Pin the link to the main file in there, and then agree that updates go in there. That's it. No big rollout, one project. And then one reflection prompt. At the end of the week, ask yourself, did I search less? Because searching is the hidden tax of office work. Less searching equals more momentum. Now, today's message is simple. Microsoft 365 isn't just apps. It's meant to support 4 things: communication, collaboration, productivity, and innovation. That's the workflow upgrades that compound over time. If this episode helped, share it with the person who always asks, where's the latest version? You know that one. Make sure you give it stars, follow it, like it, share it, all of those things, because this podcast lives on people who can learn from it and it helps them. All right, I'll see you next time on Beyond the Feature.